However, Moon Yinyan's fist suddenly smashed against his throat. Crack. The sound of bones breaking resounded, and then Ren Qianxing's head instantly flew into the air. Meanwhile, Moon Yinyan suddenly descended onto the back of the nine-headed rocks, and then she lightly stomped her right foot on the ground. Bang! The nine-headed rocks suddenly exploded apart, and blood instantly dyed the entire sky red. At this moment everyone was stunned, including Yi Xian. Another instant kill. Yi Xian stared fixedly at Moon Yinyan. Exactly how strong is Big Sister Nian? Bai Dizzy was gazing at Moon Yinyan as well, and there was a trace of seriousness in his eyes. Another instant kill. Actually, he knew that Ren Qianxing couldn't defeat Moon Yinyan, and the reason he'd asked Ren Qianxing to fight was because he wanted to see exactly how strong Moon Yinyan was. Unfortunately, he'd still been disappointed. Moon Yinyan had instantly killed Ren Qianxing. Since it was an instant kill, then he naturally didn't know Moon Yinyan's approximate strength. Bai Dizzy remained silent, and no one knew what he was thinking. In the sky, Moon Yinyan waved her hand lightly, and then the blood in the sky instantly vanished without a trace. After that, she gazed at Bai Dizzy and smiled. Next. Her voice was calm, but it carried a strand of domineering aura. Bai Dizzy gazed at Moon Yinyan and spoke softly, I underestimated you, young miss. Moon Yinyan shook her head and smiled, all of you've never taken me seriously. As she spoke, she looked at Yi Xian below. Sister Nian has lived for so many years and she understands one principle. You must always maintain a low-key and humble heart. As a person you can't be complacent and you can't think that you're above everyone else. You must know that there's always someone better out there. Yi Xian was silent. Low-key and humble. Sister Nian had said this principle more than once. In fact, it might be related to Qing Er. In the fifth dimension before she'd met Qing Er, Sister Nian should be invincible. And when she'd met Qing Er, it was probably her low-key and humble attitude that saved her. After all, Qing Er wasn't a kind person. Being arrogant in front of Qing Er? That would mean that she was really tired of living. Of course, Yi Xian knew that Sister Nian had said this not only for him to hear, but also for the doubting to hear. The doubting had been arrogant from the start, and he'd even tried to recruit Sister Nian. From the doubting's point of view, they'd recruited Sister Nian because they valued her. But from Sister Nian's point of view, the doubting's recruitment was looking down on her. Yi Xian glanced at Sister Nian. At this moment he was suddenly in a daze. Just how strong was Sister Nian? He really didn't have any confidence. In the sky, Bai Dizzy looked at Moon Yinyan and spoke softly, Young miss, what you said just now is very reasonable. But do you really understand this principle? Moon Yinyan smiled, You want to say that I've underestimated the doubting, right? Bai Dizzy smiled, You think that we've underestimated you, but we also think that you've underestimated us. Moon Yinyan laughed heartily, What you said actually makes sense. Since that's the case, let's continue fighting. As for who underestimated who, we'll only know after we fight. As she spoke, she glanced at the doubting and smiled, Why don't I go to the doubting and fight? Go to the doubting. Bai Dizzy narrowed her eyes and slowly clenched her right hand. Below, Yi Xian's eyelids twitched. Was Sister Nian playing with her life? At this moment, Bai Dizzy suddenly smiled, Young miss, you don't want the battle to take place in the fifth dimension. Moon Yinyan blinked, You can say that. Bai Dizzy shook her head, I'm sorry, I'm afraid it won't go as you wish. Moon Yinyan looked at Bai Dizzy and did not speak. At this moment, Guanyin suddenly appeared beside Yi Xian and said in a deep voice, I've just received news that countless Yin Qi has suddenly appeared in the fifth dimension. This Yin Qi is corroding the ecological environment of the entire fifth dimension. In addition, the spiritual Qi of our fifth dimension is flowing away at an alarming speed for some unknown reason. Hearing this, Yi Xian raised his head and looked at Bai Dizzy, You're targeting the fifth dimension. Bai Dizzy smiled, then looked at Moon Yinyan, Young miss, at this speed, the fifth dimension tribulation of the fifth dimension will arrive in advance. Moon Yinyan smiled, I've really underestimated you. How dare you let the Tao realm guarding the Yin world and the Yang world leave? How are your actions any different from those of the Tao breakers? Bai Dizzy looked at Moon Yinyan, Anything can be changed. Moon Yinyan laughed, No wonder the 3,000 great Taos collapsed. The real reason is not the Tao breakers but you, the Tao guardians. The 3,000 great Taos guarding the world is an excellent thing in itself, but you Tao guardians abuse it. If the spirit of the great Tao is still here, I'm afraid you'll be angered to death, ha. Bai Dizzy stared at Moon Yinyan, You actually know about the spirit of the great Tao. Moon Yinyan suddenly turned to look at Yi Xian, Remember, the spirit of the great Tao is the boss of the 3,000 great Taos. If you gather all 9 Tao scriptures, you can summon the spirit of the great Tao. At that time these Tao guardians will be your little brothers, understand? Yixian nodded. I'll try my best. In the distance Bai Dizzy smiled. He won't have this chance. Because today you siblings in this universe will disappear from this world. As his voice faded, he turned to look at the depths of the starry sky. Activate. As soon as Bai Dizzy's voice faded, in the depths of the distant starry sky, a white light suddenly appeared. The next moment the white light covered the entire starry sky, and then countless strange runes suddenly appeared in the white light. With the appearance of this huge formation, the temperature of the entire 5th dimension suddenly soared. Not only that, but the spiritual energy of the entire 5th dimension was also disappearing at a speed visible to the naked eye. This kind of disappearing could be felt personally. Seeing this scene, Yixian's expression suddenly changed. In the sky, as Mu Nianyan looked at the formation, she slowly clenched her right hand. At this moment on the battle path, a burly man suddenly appeared. The man was tens of feet tall and he held a giant axe in his hand. When he appeared on the battle path, the entire world suddenly trembled as if it could not bear his power. The man looked down at Mu Nianyan below and smiled coldly. I am the doubting giant Ling Tian God. Mortal, the doubting ancestor has the virtue of cherishing life, and I advise you to surrender. You should immediately kneel down and kowtow to thank the heavens. However, you ate a bear's heart and a leopard's heart and actually dared to resist my doubting. You. At this moment, Mu Nianyan suddenly disappeared, and the next moment the giant Ling Tian God's expression became ferocious. How dare you attack in front of this god? After saying that, he chopped down with his axe. This chop directly split the heavens and the earth. The power of this axe could really destroy this world. And the opponent's goal was also very obvious, to severely damage this world. Right at this moment, Mu Nianyan's fist suddenly landed on the gigantic axe. Boom. Under everyone's gaze, the giant axe suddenly exploded, and Mu Nianyan arrived in front of the giant Ling Tian God. She punched the giant Ling Tian God's head. Bang. The giant Ling Tian God's head directly exploded. His soul was completely destroyed. Mu Nianyan clapped her hands. What kind of rubbish is this? Kowtow to thank the heavens? It's fine if you're used to kneeling, but you want me to kneel like you? As she said that, she looked at the formation in the depths of the starry sky, and in front of that formation 28 super experts had appeared out of nowhere. Mu Nianyan squinted her eyes. The 28 lunar mansions of the legends? In the distance, Bai Dizzy looked at Mu Nianyan. Your Excellency, even if you have the power to kill the 28 lunar mansions, you still can't prevent the 5th dimension calamity from coming today because every time you attack, it consumes a lot of energy in this universe. Am I right? Mu Nianyan was silent. Bai Dizzy faintly smiled. Look around. Yixian looked around. With this glance he could see very far away. At this moment, the 5th dimension calamity actually caused mountains to collapse, spiritual energy to disappear, and most importantly, mysterious heavenly lightning. 5th dimension calamity. The entire 5th dimension universe was rapidly dying. Yixian's complexion sank. At this time, Mu Nianyan suddenly smiled. Why should I prevent the 5th dimension calamity from coming? Hearing this, Bai Dizzy's pupils suddenly shrank, and a sense of uneasiness rose in her heart. Mu Nianyan looked around and softly said, I have suppressed it for so long and in fact I have reached my limit. There is not much difference between coming now and coming a few years later. As she said that, she suddenly coughed violently. Not only that, but her complexion had also become pale, and there was even a trace of blood at the corner of her mouth. Seeing this, Bai Dizzy was startled, and then he laughed. He had guessed correctly. Destroying the 5th dimension universe was equivalent to destroying Mu Nianyan. Because everything about Mu Nianyan originated from the 5th dimension universe. At this time, Yixian suddenly appeared next to Mu Nianyan. He grabbed Mu Nianyan's hand tightly. Sister, you rest a bit, I will handle the rest. Mu Nianyan shook her head. They came prepared, you are not them. Yixian suddenly roared angrily. Rest? Mu Nianyan looked at Yixian and saw that Yixian's eyes were red and glistening with tears. Yixian said with a trembling voice, Sister, can you believe in me? I will handle the rest, I will protect this universe, I can do it, you should rest well. Looking at Yixian's red eyes, Mu Nianyan's heart inexplicably softened. She gently wiped away the tears on Yixian's cheeks and softly smiled. Fool, you don't owe this universe anything. I suddenly regret letting you bear this responsibility. Will you blame me? Yixian hurriedly shook his head. No, it is only right and proper for me to help sister. Mu Nianyan roared with laughter, and then she pointed at the battle in the sky. Idiot, you should know that the Tao court won't let the matter rest today. Yi Xian held Mu Nianyan's hand tightly with both hands. I am not confident of winning, not at all. Mu Nianyan looked at Yi Xian. Then let me rest. Yi Xian grinned. I just think if we are going to die today, I want to die before you. Mu Nianyan's body stiffened, her hand unconsciously holding Yi Xian's hand tightly, and she forced a smile on her face. Why? Yi Xian looked at Mu Nianyan and grinned. If I die first, I won't feel heartache. Also, I will definitely die in Sister Nian's arms, right? Mu Nianyan looked at Yi Xian for a long time, then shook her head. You are so cruel. Saying that, she gently wiped away the tears on Yi Xian's face and softly smiled. If one day you are bullied, there will only be one reason, and that is because I am not here. And if one day you die, there will only be one reason, and that is because I am dead. The four heavenly kings did not hesitate and retreated to the side. Bai Dizzy looked at Mu Nianyan. The purpose of this trip can't be to destroy the doubting, right? Mu Nianyan smiled. What do you think? Bai Dizzy was silent for a moment and then respectfully retreated to the side. At this time, a middle-aged man suddenly appeared in front of Mu Nianyan. This person was the doubting's current Tao ancestor. The doubting's strongest expert. The doubting was not stupid enough to send an ordinary expert to deal with Mu Nianyan. What? Because doing so would be sending them to their deaths. This Mu Nianyan could even kill a god monarch in a second. Sending someone else would only be sending them to their deaths, making the doubting's losses even greater. Therefore, when Bai Dizzy returned to the doubting, he immediately informed the Tao ancestor. Mu Nianyan was worthy of the doubting's strongest expert. The Tao ancestor appeared. Only the Tao ancestor personally took action could prevent the doubting from losing any experts. Otherwise it would be useless to send anyone else. This woman was really too strong. After the Tao ancestor appeared, he looked at Mu Nianyan and smiled. The purpose of your trip is not to destroy the doubting but to find me. Mu Nianyan smiled. Why do you say that? The Tao ancestor pointed at Yi Xian. Although this person has the calamity cause, his fate is extremely strong. In the entire doubting, the only person who has 100% chance of breaking his fate is me. Therefore your target is me. The smile on Mu Nianyan's face gradually disappeared. Yi Xian looked at Mu Nianyan. Mu Nianyan smiled. As expected of the Tao ancestor. You can see the problem at a glance. The Tao ancestor looked at Mu Nianyan. With 30% of your strength you can kill a divine lord. You surprised me but you can't kill me. Therefore, I guess you want to seriously injure me. Mu Nianyan smiled. Do you think I can do it? The Tao ancestor looked down and said, if you are willing to give up the fifth dimension and let yourself be in a peak state, I will be wary of you. Your current state. Saying this, he shook his head. You can't do it? Mu Nianyan laughed. I'll try. The Tao ancestor nodded. Then let's try. Mu Nianyan opened her palm and a sword appeared in her hand. The next moment she suddenly attacked. This sword stabbed towards the Tao ancestor. It was a very calm sword. Even the world's top swordsman Yi Xian could not see what was special about this sword. Opposite of Mu Nianyan, the Tao ancestor squinted his eyes. There was a trace of seriousness in his eyes. When the sword arrived in front of him, he suddenly pointed with his fingers. This point directly touched the tip of the sword. There were no energy fluctuations. Everything was very calm. Gradually, the Tao ancestor's body started to become illusory. Not far away, the White Emperor's son's expression changed drastically. She looked at Mu Nianyan who was lying quietly in the distance and said softly, you were born because of the fifth dimension, and now you will die because of the fifth dimension. After saying this, she looked at the fifth dimension below her. Little guy, you have to cure the fifth dimension. Otherwise, you will regret it for the rest of your life. After saying this, she looked at Mu Nianyan who was lying in the starry sky. Miss, we will meet again. After saying this, she disappeared. In the starry sky, Mu Nianyan was lying quietly. When they saw that Yi Xian had returned safely, Guan Yin and the rest heaved a sigh of relief. When they found out that Yi Xian had gone to the doubting, they were shocked. That was doubting. But fortunately Yi Xian had returned. In a large hall, all the self-release realm experts of the entire fifth dimension were gathered. Everyone was looking at Yi Xian. Yi Xian suddenly looked at Jiang Yu. Pavilion Master Jiang, bring all the experts of the Tao world to the various parts of the world. Your mission is very simple. Save the dying and help the injured. As for some natural disasters, if you can stop them, then stop them. If you can't, then save the people and living beings. Jiang Yu nodded. I will do it now. After saying this, he turned and left. Yi Xian looked at Guanyin. Now that the fifth dimension has arrived, everyone in the world must be panicking. At this time, there will be people who will take advantage of the situation to create chaos. Send a team of experts to patrol the world. Anyone who takes advantage of the situation to create chaos will be killed. Guanyin nodded. Yi Xian looked at Wen Zhaohua. Miss Wen, the fifth dimension needs the help of the sixth dimension. Wen Zhaohua hurriedly said, Young Master Yi, please speak. Ever since Yi Xian was willing to share the Tao scripture, the sixth dimension had already followed Yi Xian's lead. The Tao scripture. It could change the fate of all the experts in the sixth dimension. Yi Xian said in a deep voice, Right now, the fifth dimension definitely doesn't have enough manpower. I hope that the sixth dimension will send people down to help. Also, the spiritual energy of the fifth dimension is collapsing. We need some heaven and earth spirit and spirit veins. Miss Wen, don't worry. I will only borrow them temporarily. After the fifth dimension stabilizes, I will return them all. As for the problem of the spiritual energy of the fifth dimension, I will think of a way to solve it. When Zhaohua hesitated before nodding. I will do it now. After saying this, she got up and left. Yi Xian looked at the abbot of the ancient temple. The current abbot of the ancient temple was also the leader of the realm of ultimate bliss. Seeing that Yi Xian was looking at him, the abbot immediately got up and put his palms together. Half a day ago, I summoned all the monks of the realm of ultimate bliss to the fifth dimension.